Rumors of a trade that would bring Donovan Mitchell to the New York Knicks filled the summer, yet Mitchell ended up going to the Cavs instead. One reputed sticking point was the Knicks' unwillingness to part with talented young wing RJ Barrett. Barrett gave New York plenty of reason to want to stick with him, but to live up to the team's expectations this season, he'll have to take his game to the next level. Stick around as we look at 4 reasons he'll do just that and what he'll have to overcome to do it. He's earned his coach's trust. It's not easy for a young player to break into the NBA playing for Tom Thibodeau. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, Thibs is one of pro basketball's most idiosyncratic coaches. Wherever he goes, he prioritizes winning right away over player development, and he prefers to put the ball in the hands of veterans. Barrett, the 3rd pick in the 2019 NBA draft, got the chance to establish his professional bona fides before Thibodeau joined the team. That may have helped him actually increase his minutes and usage in the 2020-2021 season. Perhaps he didn't need much help. Like his teammate Julius Randle, Barrett shot far better from both 2 and 3 in that first season under Thibodeau. That year, Barrett shot 40% from 3 and 44% overall, huge leaps from his rookie season. The 21 Knicks were an odd team. The roster was full of players with historically poor shooting stats, but in that year, they shot the lights out most nights. Some amount of regression was to be expected, and unfortunately, that hit Barrett last season. His overall field goal percentage dropped to 41%, just a hair better than what he shot as a rookie, and he fell to 34% from 3. Nonetheless, even when his shot didn't fall, he remained a focal point of New York's offense. He'd earned Thibodeau's trust. Next year, we know he'll get the chance to show how much he's improved. If he continues to grow as an all-around player and recaptures some of his shooting stroke from the 21 season, he could prove that he's emerged as a true star. He has the confidence to lead. RJ Barrett didn't remain a focal point for the Knicks just because of Thibodeau's confidence in him. He had to remain confident in himself. It can be tough for young stars to balance the confidence they have to push themselves to succeed with the understanding of the challenges they'll face. Some get too attached to the idea of themselves as stars and fail to put in the work to make it a reality when they reach the NBA. Others face the league's reality, one in which even backbench role players were probably the number 1 options for their college or overseas teams, and then lose confidence in their abilities. Barrett seems to have walked that line. When he first entered the league, he talked about his ambitions for his career. He wanted it all: Rookie of the Year, MVP, championship. He lost out on the first award to Ja Morant. The other 2 looked far in the distance. But he didn't let that stop him from pursuing them. At the same time, he's never stopped acknowledging the greatness of both his competitors and the players who came before him. He grew up learning from his dad, Rowan Barrett, an international basketball pro and Canadian Olympian. His godfather was NBA legend Steve Nash. Knowing how far he has to go, RJ has always been humble and appreciative when receiving compliments and advice from legends like Bernard King, who praised and advised him as a rookie. He's still just 22 years old. Speaking of Barrett as a rookie, it's easy to forget that he's just 2 years removed from being one. A one-and-done star at Duke, he only turned 22 this June. What we've seen from him so far just the 3 seasons he would have spent playing amateur ball if he hadn't declared for the NBA draft. Not only does that mean we can expect to see him in the league for a long time, it means we'll only have gotten a hint of what he will become when he finally reaches his prime. That's what separates Barrett's struggles in the last year's disappointing season from those of some of his veteran teammates. He didn't have a history of playing at that level, broken up by just one good year that doesn't represent who he is as a player. He struggled at times last year, yes, but his sophomore season the year before is not only closer to who he can become, it should be just a hint of what he can achieve in the future. It's easy to look at prodigies like Ja Morant or Luka Doncic and think the NBA's elite players should emerge as fully formed superstars. The last 4 MVP awards went to 2 guys, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic, who are playing their way out of role player status at their age 21 seasons. Maybe Barrett's hope to take that award home could be one day in reach. He has to get more efficient. First though, Barrett has to conquer his biggest weakness, inefficiency. Even in the 21 season, his best so far as a pro, his effective field goal percentage was just under 50%. That's far short of the NBA's elite. The more accurate true shooting percentage stat, which also accounts for the frequency in which a player gets to the line and his accuracy knocking down foul shots, was kinder to Barrett, yet still left him looking good but not great. In that season, some of his inefficiency came down to his shot selection. Even though he was regularly hitting his threes, he didn't take very many of them. His drive to the baskets are lethal, but far too often he would lose his defender off the dribble only to pull up and take a mid-range jumper. The NBA isn't quite as hostile to that approach as it was a few years ago. Defenses have adjusted to the modern era of three-point bombers by spreading out, and some players have slipped through the cracks to revitalize the mid-range shot. Nonetheless, there's no getting around the numbers. An open 3 is better than an open 2 for any player that can hit either shot. Barrett demonstrated that at his best, he could. A layup, even a contested one, is more likely to hit than a long 2, and Barrett can get to the basket to lay it up. Fortunately, he's already started adjusting to this reality. He attempted almost 6 threes and 6 free throws per game last year, up from 4.3 and 3.8 respectively. Less of those shots fell in the year before, but when he starts knocking them down again, not only will his points skyrocket, they'll get more efficient too. Jalen Brunson is the best playmaker he's teamed up with. Good thing he's about to team up with someone who can provide him with better looks than he's ever had. The Knicks' pursuit of point guard Jalen Brunson this offseason was so aggressive, it drew the eye of the NBA in a tampering investigation. But it's easy to see why they were desperate to add him to the team. Brunson was great last year, whether complimenting Luka Doncic or even filling in for him while he was injured. More than that, though, he'll be by far the best playmaker RJ Barrett has had the chance to team up with. With all due respect to Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker, who are fantastic in their heyday, that heyday seems to be far behind both of them. Brunson is just entering his prime. For Barrett, that's going to mean 2 benefits he's never had. First, he's going to get better looks than he's ever had before. Brunson showed off his ability to lead a Mavs squad with a 5-out, 3-point bombing approach to offense. He'll hook Barrett up with precision passes on the outside. Second, Brunson's presence will take a ton of defensive pressure off of Barrett. Last year, Barrett and Julius Randle were overwhelmingly the points of New York's attack, and opposing teams could focus on blunting them. This year, they'll not just have to account for Brunson's passing, but also his own scoring. The stage is set for Barrett to elevate his game, to become an NBA All-Star and lead the Knicks back to the playoffs. What are your expectations for Barrett this season, and for the rest of his career? Do you think he has what it takes to be an All-Star? To chase even loftier goals? Let us know in the comments below. While you're there, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell to make sure you keep up with all the basketball info you can handle.